Hey everybody out there, and welcome to the last comic review of the year 2010, even though we're kind of shooting this in the beginning of 2011, with a fairly decent amount of comics in the last week of 2010. Pretty decent. Before we get into the comics, well, first off, you guys know my brother Mike, who is my cameraman.
Hello.
With a new camera, actually, for those of you who are noticing the spiffy new video-like things. I'm not sure if it's going to come out right on YouTube, but for those of you who, if there is a way to notice, yes, this is my brand new camera, which we'll be using for my reviews from this day on. Hopefully a tripod will follow soon. This way you don't have to worry about when Mike's on, get tired of the shaking. But that's future. Due to the fact, first of all, we had the holiday weekend. And everybody knows on New Year's Eve and day, nothing in the post office moves. And I get all my comics through Midtown Comics through the mail. And we also had a wonderful week-long blizzard. It didn't last a week, but over the course of a week, it took about a week to clean up everything out there. And everything, especially from Monday to, I'd say, Wednesday of last week, was dead stop. So these comics were stuck somewhere in the city for a while before they actually moved here. So, unfortunately, they're late. And that's why this review is late, but I want to keep on top of that this coming year and make sure that what happened last year, where I missed out on an entire month of comic reviews and ended up losing half of you guys, and I'm praying that I got most of you guys back, and I'm very thankful for those of you who have stuck around and, you know, waited, and for those of you new people, thanks for checking me out. I don't want that to happen again, so I'm going to stay on top of that this year. Things to look forward to, as a matter of fact. In the year 2011. I don't want to give too much away because I don't want to say it's in the inkling stages, but it's not 100% definite yet. But I have been talking to people, people actually who messaged me, and we've been sending messages back and forth, and this is big. This is something really huge that'll be happening next year. I don't know if I could say it's going to happen next week or the week after, but soon. I've been talking with, let's just say, very high up people that are very interested in my reviews. So you might be seeing some new stuff coming soon. Not a new review, but some extra new stuff. We're not looking to change my reviews, but we're looking always to add on, you know, some stuff that you guys can enjoy. Stuff I think you guys would enjoy reading, whatever. So that's the big news for my reviews. Now, as far as comic book news-wise, this past week they've actually announced that there will be a Red Lantern Corps series starting up, which I am uberly interested in checking out. That's coming out in the summer of 2011, so expect to see that here. There's a new Venom series coming out, which I believe I mentioned before, right, Mike?
Yeah, I believe you have.
I believe I mentioned it before, but I'm going to check that out. There will be comic series I'll be dropping from the year that I've been reading that I'm not interested in anymore. There will be new comic series started up. There will be some returns. There is a comic series that the next issue I will be grabbing, so that's something to look forward to. Another comic series coming back to my reviews. And, you know, just expect anything. I'm going to be working overtime on these reviews, checking out as much as I can, doing as much as I can. Mostly for you guys, you know, reviewing those things, tell you guys what's good out there and what isn't. Right now, DC Comics, it's being advertised everywhere about their $2.99 cuts, and that's what you're going to be seeing a pretty big abundance on here, because more affordable, you know, cheaper price means more money to buy newer things. See, something just popped. Anyway, so yeah, expect a lot. Like I said, as far as the big announcement goes, as soon as it's 100% confirmed and everything's talked over and I'm ready to start, you guys are going to know about it. Trust me, you guys are definitely going to know about it. A few of you have messaged me already on a few things, and I've messaged a few people about it. So let's get into these comics. Once again, the week of December 29, 2010, the last week. First off, a quickie, Halo Fall of Reach, Part 3 of 4 came out. This is all about John, Spartan 117. For those of you Halo fans, you know you're going to be picking this up. There's actually another Halo series, yes, another Halo series, that has been mentioned, that will be starting up after this. I think after this series, though, I'm pretty much done, because for those of you who know, every comic book series for Halo came out around the same time the video games came out. This is the one for Reach. Once this is done, I'm pretty much done. I don't think they're coming out with it. I think it was the teaser that didn't make it or whatever. If you're a Halo fan, you'll definitely be checking this out. If you're not, you won't. The story is pretty interesting. It's all about how John Spartan 117 came to be. You know, from the time he was born all the way up until the day he became the Master Chief. Like I said, if you're interested in Halo, you will be checking it out. If you're not, you won't. Now a series that is literally, no joke here, one issue away from being dropped, X-23. Honestly, I'm not getting into this series at all. Basically, Laura is now being followed, and people want her, and we don't know why yet. But she wants to find herself in this world. She's basically like a runaway right now. She doesn't know where she fits in, and she wants to figure out how to fit in. And in the end, there is a woman who claims to be her mother and has the sinister jewel at top of her head. And Gambit, of course, makes a special appearance, and I don't know. The artwork is pretty good. I gotta admit, the artwork is very nice. The story, however, just doesn't seem to be catching me. I'm just not feeling this series. It's just slowly boring me. Even the tie-in to Wolverine Goes to Hell, it just didn't catch me. So this issue, honestly, is one issue away from being completely dropped, along with X-Force. The next X-Force will decide the fate of X-Force. The next X-23 will decide the fate of X-23. But being honest with you guys, I don't even know if I'm going to get the next issue of X-23. I don't even know if I'm going to give it a chance, because it's really for $3.99 or... well, no, it's $2.99. We'll see. Moving into a comic that hasn't been around for a month or two, Astonishing Spider-Man and Wolverine, number 4 of 6. Basically, you find out Wolverine is in Spider-Man's past, and Spider-Man is in Wolverine's past. And it's all due to these two guys that have all the jewels that have the ability to send them all throughout time. So basically, Wolverine is wrestling partners with Spider-Man back when he was a wrestler, before his Uncle Ben died, and Spider-Man is in the Canadian forest where Wolverine was when he was living with wolves. This is back when Wolverine was first coming to be, when he was an animal. Then basically at some point you find out who the two guys are who sent Wolverine and Spidey all over the place, and I don't know. Okay. They're going to be on the cover of the next issue anyway. These guys. Basically, in the end, they show up and they send Spidey and Wolverine to another world where they're being roasted at the stake, tied at the stakes, and burned at the stake, so to speak. So, and Spider-Man, it turns out Spider-Man has a few of the jewels, and a villain I never thought I'd see is behind or watching all this, and it's Mojo. Those of you X-Men fans will know who Mojo is. He's all about the making the perfect show, no matter who gets hurt or anything like that. It's alright. Not that good, not that bad. I'd say, once again, it is the Astonishing universe. It's a mini. There's 2 more parts. I'm going to stick around. For those of you who've been missing out on this, you're not missing out on much. You're really not missing out on much in this. Once again, it's time traveling. See, Marvel hasn't moved away from the time traveling thing yet. Whereas once Batman came back from time, DC kind of moved away from that. Except for, of course, Vanishing Point, which only has 1 more issue to go. So Marvel should take a little hint here, and once this series is over, leave time traveling alone for a while. On to a very interesting series. A lot of people probably don't like this. I'm finding it interesting. Osborn, part 2 of 5. Okay, Norman Osborn is now in this maximum security prison where basically you're not under arrest yet. You're either in this prison until you die or until they're ready, which could be anywhere from a day to 100 years from then. They're ready to arraign you. So he's there, and the priest, who believes the Green Goblin is the Messiah, or whatever, that Norman Osborn is the coming Messiah, he's going to save the world, wants to help Norman Osborn escape. And of course, they escape. Norman Osborn figures out a way. There's a cell on the West Wing, there is a break-in or something, and there's commotion going on, and Norman uses this to his advantage, and he breaks everybody in the cell blocks out. Except for the alien woman who hates the human race, which he has actually killed in like 1 page. which is pretty interesting, pretty awesome. So now Norman Osborn's, and then you find out that this prison is underwater. That's how you find out the prison's underwater. And now Norman Osborn with the priest, and the 6 people that were in the cells around him are ready to escape. Pretty interesting. The artwork is really great. Do I have any good? No Spider-Man. For those of you who are looking for Spider-Man here, don't expect him to make that many an appearance at all in this issue. These are B-list villains, if they're even on the villain roster. These could be just newer villains. And of course Nora is still trying to figure out where Norman Osborn is, and in the last panel she's meeting up with this guy who you don't know who he is yet, and it concludes with them with a submarine coming up, probably going to lead her and the mysterious man down to the prison, and that's where they leave you off. And now Norman Osborn has enlisted the 6 people he just freed to protect him until they get out. Once they get out of the prison, he says they're free to do whatever they want, but he wants out, and he's going to use them to his advantage to get out. Really good. You know Norman Osborn's going to escape. You know the Green Goblin. It's only a matter of time before the Green Goblin shows up in the Spider-Man world. I say there's 3 more parts to go. Maybe by the summer or the winter of 2011, you know Green Goblin's going to be making his return to the Amazing Spider-Man comics. That's what I think this is all leading up to. But that's only my prediction. I could be wrong. Moving into another series. Now this series was on the fence, but isn't anymore. At least for now. We'll see how the next story arc goes. Daken Dark Wolverine #4. Okay, Daken goes to the Fantastic Four. Everybody thinks he's dead, and he goes to the Fantastic Four, and they all don't know who he is at first, and then finally Johnny's taking Daken's death very badly. And this is, of course, prior to the whole 3 story arc, obviously, that's going on in the Fantastic Four comics now. So Daken shows up, and of course he has those moments with the thing where he's like, oh, you know you love me, and you know I like it too. Okay, we all know Daken's crazy and wild, so let's leave it at that. So in this comic, they make him look like he's a real good guy. You know, I'm sorry, I want to make a good name for myself. I'm kind of on the Thing side here. I think he's full of crap, but they make you feel that way in this issue, that he's sincere, that he wants to change, and he wants to come out of the Norman Osborn legacy. So he's like, everybody thinks I'm dead. I need to stay dead and look dead for a bit. I need your help. I need like a weapon or something to protect myself while I'm coming into a new superhero persona or whatever he's trying to do. And Reed helps him, and he goes back out into the world after a bit. It's really a lot of talking, no action in this issue. Basically, Reed says there has to be an ulterior motive for him to be here. He said he was here. It was a good timing. I'm wondering if there were two distractions, because at the time Daken showed up, the Baxter building was under attack by some rogue people who wanted something from Reed Richards, and Daken actually stopped them, and they disappeared without a trace. Interesting? Much? Yes. Next issue, actually in the end of this issue, Daken found out that Captain America Bucky was originally Winter Soldier, the man who killed his mother. And in future issues, he says he's going to take care of that, but not anytime soon. Next issue, he takes control over a city, or he's going to be like a kingpin, I have a feeling. And if that's true, I'm going to be bored of that book in about a week, so that'll kind of drop after a while. But for right now, we're going to keep Daken around. Pretty good. Artwork is alright. I'd say it's alright to get. Now, a number 200, and that's the only reason why I bought this. What If Siege? They have, it's a huge splash cover. Hold on, let me get the splash cover, because it's got like a dual title going on. What If Siege 200. So you got 2 stories here. You got Siege, and then you got a special What If and we'll get into the second What If in a second. What If Siege? What if Norman Osborn won the siege? Basically, I can sum it up in 2 seconds. If Norman Osborn won, if they killed Ares before the siege of Asgard, and Norman Osborn won, the Sentry would become, Captain America would die, the heroes of the Marvel Universe would all be destroyed, Sentry would become the Void at some point and destroy all life on Earth as we know at the end. And the world is over. Now, the second story is, what if the Watcher didn't just watch? What if he actually took control and killed Galactus? basically in the end he'd become a Galactus. That's his punishment. The end. Pretty interesting story. The artwork was really good. Really, really well drawn out artwork. It was alright. It was a pretty decent issue, especially for the price. But no, it was good. I would absolutely say if you guys are What If fans, definitely pick this up. If not, it's a good take on what if Norman Osborn won the whole siege. Everybody would die. Everyone, including Norman Osborn, would die. And there were some really sick ways heroes died in this series. So I would say if you're interested in seeing that, pick it up. If not, you don't have to. Really, it's a what if. It didn't happen, it won't happen, and that's it. Unlike the Marvel Zombies, which they're still milking. Marvel, you're milking the Marvel Zombies to hell. Moving out of Marvel and going into Boom Studios for a second. Boom, Starborn #1. The second of the 3 stories that Stan Lee has been making. And by the way, guys, next week, for next week's review, the first week of 2011, I will be getting Soldier Zero 1, 2, 3, and 4, so you can expect to see a review on Soldier Zero. Starborn, however, has it has gotten off to a very, very slow start. I had a little bit higher hope for the first issue of this series. Basically, you start off learning about this guy Benjamin, who was adopted, and he grew up with this Chinese girl, and he wrote these stories, and this woman says that he's copywriting Kurt Allen, and he reads it, and basically he's at his job, and then he gets attacked by creatures that he was writing about. So basically, the creatures he was writing about, as you all know from that you read the synopsis here, the creatures he was writing, the stories he was writing were really past memories. So the creatures try to kill him. Turns out his friend was a shapeshifter and sent to Earth to protect him until he was old enough to take over, apparently. And nothing really big happens. He gets attacked by the aliens, and basically this is where they leave you off. Jumping off a building and an explosion. The end. It was kind of a very, very slow start. It was a very slow start. So now he finds out the aliens are real, and now he's basically, here's what he says: aliens are trying to kill me, and I've just been shoved off of an exploding building by the girl of my, he's in love with this girl, by the girl of my dreams. Suddenly being stuck at a dead-end job doesn't seem all that bad. To be continued. It's a slow start, but there's always hope that the series will pick up. I'm still interested enough to stick around. But yeah, it was good. Just don't expect a lot to happen in this issue like in The Traveler. In The Traveler, you just jumped right into the action, you know, right away. You were in the middle of a whole ordeal. Here, they're kind of taking it slow. They're kind of doing like a beginning kind of feeling. So it's a slower beginning, but the story still has a lot of promise. I will definitely be picking up Starborn. Absolutely check out this and check out The Traveler. We'll talk about Soldier Zero this weekend, which is a few days from now, in my first review of 2011. Okay, a quickie real fast, guys. This came out 2 weeks ago. I got it a week late because it's 2 weeks ago was pretty pricey. Young Justice, 100-page spectacular, #3. I believe this is the last one. It involves Young Justice Secret Origins, and once Mike's done scanning, I'll tell you what else is in this book. It wasn't really that good. It talks about the origins of most of the Young Justice people, so you guys know here. It from Young Justice #7, Young Justice Secret Origin, 80-page giant. So there you go. You get one issue of Young Justice, which was #7, and then you get the Secret Origins, which was 80 pages. So basically, this is the Secret Origin #1 with the issue #7 connected to it. Once again, nostalgic moments, and I am a huge fan of Superboy, so that's really why I checked this out. Most of the Young Justice people are now in the Teen Titans. Robin, Impulse, who's now Kid Flash, Superboy, and Wonder Girl are all part of the Teen Titans now. So if you guys are interested, if you like the stories in here, check out Teen Titans, which we will actually be talking about in a little bit. There's a Teen Titans issue in this comic review. Action Comics 896, thank you God. DC Comics has announced, as of Action Comics 900, the Man of Steel will be back in the driver's seat, or in the main star seat of Action Comics. The Man of Steel is returning. Lex Luthor's stories are done. That's it. Once 899 hits, Lex Luthor's over with. And the second feature of Jimmy Olsen is actually going into a one-shot, which is coming out, I believe, in a month or so. So I'll be getting that for you guys. So the second feature is to be continued in the one-shot. Really, Lex Luthor hires the Sinister Six to protect him against Vindel Savage, and it's actually a two-part series. It starts here and it concludes in the Sinister Six's next issue, which I believe is 29, which is coming out this month also. Next issue for Action Comics involves the guest starring of the Joker. Oh boy, the Joker and Lex Luthor together in Action Comics. Really looking forward to that. 896, 3 issues to go. 3 issues to go. I can live for 3 more issues with Lex Luthor. Okay, now the second Flash comic of the month. The Reverse Flash Rebirth. Flash number 8. No longer tied into Brightest Day, now moving into Flashpoint. The next issue is actually going to start off Flashpoint, the arc's Flashpoint. In this issue, Professor Zoom, also known as the Reverse Flash, is now free thanks to what happened with Captain Boomerang in the last issue. So now he's going into his past and changing things. First he kills his brother, so his brother never came to be. Then he kills his successor, so that he... Basically, whenever something or an object got in the way of his future, he would kill the person that got in his way. Except he did fall in love at some point, and he killed the woman so that he never fell in love. This way it wouldn't get in the way of him becoming the Reverse Flash. So basically this is a retelling of, or a change in the past of the Reverse Flash. And now he's like, I'm going to find a way to ruin the Flash. Now that the Flash is back. He wants to ruin the Flash's life. Like the Flash ruined his life. And then there's a little one-page Flashpoint, what's it called? Flash Fact? I believe it's called. Yeah, it's Flash Fact. Then they do a, Flashback, the Negative Speed Force, and it's a 2-page long thing leading into the next issue, which is the first issue of the Flashpoint arc. Awesome. The artwork's great. The story, it's the rebirth of the Reverse Flash. The Reverse Flash actually changes his own past, which is interesting. I'd absolutely say pick it up. I was wrong to actually drop the Flash. I actually dropped them, but the comics didn't come out, so technically I just came back in time before I missed any of the issues. Okay, now jumping into Teen Titans number 90. Taking off with the new Robin in the Teen Titans. You can see that Revenger is starting to find common ground with Robin, while at the same time Superboy's coming to terms with, he's talking to Beast Boy and he says, I used to like coming here, I didn't like being in Smallville, this used to be where I wanted to be all the time, but now that I'm back it feels like I'm needed in Smallville and that's my family. And Beast Boy says, well, sometimes you gotta make time for both your families, here and there. And then they find out where the guy who has the psychic powers goes to school, and it turns out that the professor at that college, or high school, he wasn't the only experiment. There were other people also. There was a young girl who has skin made of steel, and a young man who plays football and has super speed. And basically, they have powers too. And the Teen Titans go to the college, the high school. I keep saying college. They go to the high school, they find out where this guy is, and they go to the high school just right before it actually gets covered by a bunch of dirt. And they come face to face with the super teens, I'll call them. And actually on the cover you see Kid Flash is knocked down. That actually does happen in the series, and Raven puts him somewhere inside of her cloak or inside the zone, whatever zone she's from. Lord knows when it comes to Raven. And you get a wonderful final page where Revenger and Robin had the task of finding all the kids because everybody's missing. And he says, this is dull. And then Revenger says, oh no. When you're a Titan, there's always lots of fights. And both of them seem very happy that they're about to get into a huge fight. And it's to be continued. I love the artwork here. I like the new Robin. Even though I'm a huge fan of Tim Drake, I'd rather Tim Drake be in the Teen Titans than this new Robin. But it's nice to see some new chemistry in the Teen Titans. Also in the first few pages you get to see, for those of you who remember, I showed you guys a Brightest Day splash of what's going to be coming out in Teen Titans over the next year. You get to see that girl with the... They speak Hindi, so I'm guessing this is in... Anyway, here she is. And that's that's the little teaser with the new Teen Titan that's going to be coming at some point, I'm guessing. And that's it. Really don't care about the first 2 pages, but the rest of the issue is really, really good. You know, you get to see Robin and Avenger kind of talking about their parents being supervillains and them having to prove themselves to heroes. And you get to see like the whole chemistry, like the team's back together and like everything's working, and then you got Robin who's thrown into the team mix, and now they've got this is like their first mission, so now everything's getting a little like getting the team to work together as a team, and you know, just getting everything to work. I like it. I enjoy this comic immensely, and I would definitely, for those of you who were here, who were with Teen Titans back with issue 1, if you were looking for the old team to be back, Kid Flash and Superboy really make the Teen Titans worth reading, in my opinion. Not to say that it was good before, but it's just worth, in my opinion, I like it much more now, especially with the new Robin. It's good to see some pain in the ass in the bunch. And finally this week, Brightest Day Time with another exclusive movie preview, Green Lantern 61, even though Green Lantern has no part in this entire issue. It's all about Atrocitus and the entity of Rage. Basically, the entity of Rage possesses this man whose daughter was just killed by a murderer, a serial killer who says to the father, oh, she liked it. I guess he raped and murdered her. And the father has great rage for the guy, so the entity of Rage possesses him and kills the guy. And of course, now that the guy's dead, the entity of Rage says the rage is subsiding. So, and then the Spectre shows up and tries to stop the entity of Rage before it possesses the guy, but of course he fails. And him and Atrocitus have a little knockdown, blowout fight for a bit. And then eventually, basically, Atrocitus captures and imprisons the entity of Rage in his lantern. And basically, the Spectre wants to now kill the man who was possessed at the time by the Red Lantern entity. He wants to judge him because he killed the other guy, and then Atrocitus says, you can't judge him until you judge me. And basically the Spectre says, I can't judge you at this time because you have a mission from God. So I'll leave both of you, and the Spectre leaves. He says, but don't think you're going to be safe forever. And the guy tries to thank Atrocitus, and he just scares the living crap out of him and flies off. You know, I noticed that DC Comics is making you like all of the Lanterns now. Everybody, you know, everybody likes Sinestro, even though he's a pain in the ass. He's like, he had, I said, that anti-hero feeling at the beginning of 2010. They made him feel like an anti-hero. They're doing that with Atrocitus now. They're making him kind of seem like, you know, the only reason he's such a bad guy is because of what the Manhunters did to him in his past. And I think that the first story arc for the Red Lantern Corps series is going to be how Atrocitus came to be, why Atrocitus has such great rage. That's what at least they're saying is the tentative first story arc. So you're getting to understand why he's the way he is, just like you're understanding why Lar Flees, you know, who's the Orange Lantern, whom originally you hate, now you don't hate because you see all he wants is his family. Now you're seeing Atrocitus, the only reason he's a bad... He turned into such a bad guy was because the Manhunters killed and destroyed his family. So what DC's really doing is they're making all the Lanterns seem good, except the Indigo Tribe, which now Green Lantern is questioning because the Black Hand is now part of the Indigo Tribe, and he's wondering if all the people in the Indigo Tribe at one time did something bad and basically just were possessed by the Indigo Ring, which changed them into being good people. So you don't know, we don't know. But basically, other than the Indigo Tribe, which is a big question mark, which kind of always was a big question mark since back in the Blackest Night, Brightest Day, Blackest Night. Brightest Day is actually going to be ending in the beginning of next year also, but from Blackest Night all the way to now, the Indigo Tribe is the only tribe that has a huge question mark. The White Lanterns we're learning about throughout Brightest Day, but it seems other than that, the Yellow Lantern Corps, which was once bad, is Sinestro is now has that anti-hero feeling, but you know what? He could change back to a villain anytime. Believe me, in one issue you want to hate his guts, and another issue you don't. So he has the ability to go from bad to good. Atrocitus, you kind of feel very bad for his past, so you kind of wish he would, you know, you kind of understand why he is the way he is now. Lar Flees, I have a feeling he's going to be more good than bad at some point because, you know, you're starting to feel, you know, all he wants is his family, so you're starting to care about the character. The Indigo Tribe, like I said, question mark, White Lantern, question mark. The Star Sapphire